Continue now the top of Daf Kofala from Meseches Eruvin. This is Eruvin Daf 101b. The Gemara is in the middle of explaining that the end of the mission is not discussing standing in a Rishas Haravim and opening a door in Rishas Hayachid. It's actually talking about standing in a Carmelis. Elohim Kain Asa Mechitza Gavoa Asar Tvachim. A person cannot stand in a Carmelis and open a door in Rishas Hayachid unless he makes a Mechitza that is 10 Tvachim high, so he turns that Carmelis into a Rishas Hayachid, that area as well. Divrei Rabbi Meir. That's what Rabbi Meir says. Amru lo, they said to him, Maisa b'shuk shel petamim shahayu b'Yerushalayim shahayu no'alinu manichan samaftech bechalon shal gabei pesach. What are you talking about? In Yerushalayim, which is a Carmelis, they used to do this. They used to stand in this particular marketplace, and they would place the key. They would lock the door and place the key in a window that was on top of the doorway. Rabbi Yossi says, Shuk shel tzamarim haya. It was a marketplace where they sold wool. It wasn't petamim, wasn't where they sold fowl. It was a place where they sold wool. The Gemara continues at the two dots. Taner Rabbanan, we learned in a brisa, Pischei Sharei Gina. Let's say you have the doors that open up into a Gina, into a garden, and again, the garden has the status of a Carmelis. Bizman sheyesh lehen beis shar, in a situation where they have a gatehouse that opens into it. We'll see a diagram in a moment. Mi bifnim, if the beis shar is on the inside, posech v'no mi bifnim, then you can open and close on the inside. Mi bachutz, if it's on the outside, posech v'no mi bachutz, you can open and close on the outside. Mikan, if it's on both sides, posech v'no kan v'kan, you can open and close on both sides. Ein lehen lo lakan v'lo lakan asur kan v'kan. If it doesn't have on either side, then you're not allowed to open and close on either side. And Rashi explains, Beis shar bayis katan upesach hagina pasuach bo. The door of the gina opens up into this beis shar, into this small house. Uveshare hagina hasmuchin l'Rishas Haravim maskinan. The case is that the gates of this garden are next to a Rishas Haravim. Midiktani Sefer, we'll see the end of the case, says the same thing. V'chein chanuyos hapsuchos l'Rishas Haravim. The chanuyos, the stores that open up into Rishas Haravim, is going to be the next case of the brisa. Poseach v'no b'fnim, the beis shar Rishas Hayachid. The idea here is the beis shar is considered Rishas Hayachid. V'chein kishu michutz, and if it's on the outside also, the beis shar is Rishas Hayachid. So that allows you to open up this door. Lo lakan v'lo lakan asur mikan u'mikan. Now, if you don't have the beis shar at all, then you have a problem. Why? Dahamino, because the lock itself, Rishus Hayachidu, that actually has the status of Rishus Hayachid. And even though the key is on top of the lock, so you're really just, everything is remaining in Rishus Hayachid, Gazer Rabbi Meir still makes a gezeira shelo yamud b'Rishus Haravim. A person shouldn't stand in Rishus Haravim. V'lo begina, a person shouldn't stand in the gina. V'yitol mafteach shel Rishus Hayachid, and take a key which is in Rishus Hayachid. Shema yevienu etzlo l'Rishus Haravim o l'Karmelis, because there's a concern, as we've said, that you might end up bringing the key from this Rishus Hayachid to the Carmelis. We'll take a quick look at this diagram over here. Here you have a situation where the Pesach beis shar is mibachutz. The opening is going to be on the outside. You can see over here is the Rishus Haravim. Here is this beis shar over here, this gatehouse that opens up into the garden. And here, of course, is the lock, which right now we're saying that this lock has a status of a Rishus Hayachid. The brisa actually continues. The brisa says as follows. Brisa says, V'chein chanuyos hapsuchos l'Rishus Haravim. The same is true if you have stores that open up into Rishus Haravim. Bizman shahaminol lemata me'asora. Let's say the lock is below 10 tefachim from the ground. So in that case, maybe mafteach me'erev Shabbos, he can bring the key from Erev Shabbos. Umanicho beskopa, he can place it on the threshold. Now the situation over here is that the threshold itself is a Carmelis, so you can place the key on a Carmelis. And lemachor poseach v'noel, the next day you can open and close this lock. Umachziro liskop, and you can return it to this exact same threshold. Because in this particular case, since the lock is below 10, it is not going to be a Rishus Hayachid. Uvizman shamino lemala me'asor. However, if the lock is above 10 tvachim from the ground, so then maybe mafteach me'erev Shabbos, he can bring the key from Erev Shabbos. Umanicho b'minol, and he can place it on the lock. Lemachor poseach v'noel machzir lemekomo. So he has to place it. He can't move it onto the threshold in this case. He has to return it to its place on the lock. Divrei Rabbi Meir, that's the opinion of Rabbi Meir. And Rashi over here explains, Lemachor poseach umanicho al eskopa lekame mefarish. Later on, we're going to explain the mehacha that from this particular line over here, Shaminan dahader bei Rabbi Meir mishare gina, that Rabbi Meir actually changed his mind. Up until this point, we're assuming that a person cannot stand in a Carmelis as well and open a door that's, let's say, in Rishus Hayachid or Rishus Haravim. But that's not true anymore. V'lo gazar ba'omed b'Rishus Haravim shlo yataltal b'Carmelis. It's clear from here that Rabbi Meir does not make a gezer in a situation where you're standing in Rishus Haravim and you're opening or moving around things in a Carmelis. How do we know that? Tohiskopa Carmelisi, because in this case, this threshold is a Carmelis. The Rach Vadalit, it's 4 tefachim wide. Ve'ena gavoyot, it's not 10 tefachim high. Ucheshenot al mafteach misham. Now, when he's taking the key from the threshold, v'uomed b'Rishus Haravim. Now he's standing in Rishus Haravim. Umolicho derech aver eskop, and he's moving it around on this threshold, which is a carmelis. Liminol shal gabo of lamata me'asar, to this particular lock, which is also below 10 tvachim from the ground, which is also a carmelis. Kamataltal mi carmelis lecarmelis. He's moving this around carmelis to carmelis. Velo gazer Rabbi Meir shema yavienu etzlo. Apparently, Rabbi Meir is not concerned that you're going to move it from the carmelis to the Rishos Harabim chutz le'ovei eskopa, outside of the threshold. So here you really see Rabbi Meir changing his mind and saying that as long as the lock is a carmelis, because it's below 10 tvachim, so then the eskopa is a carmelis, the lock is a carmelis, you can move it around and open it, and there is no concern in a situation of a carmelis. Now, if it's above 10 tvachim from the ground, then Rabbi Meir already says it's a Rosh HaYachid, it is going to be a problem. The Chachamim say, Af bisman sha'amino lamala me'asar tvachim, even in a situation where the lock is higher than 10 tvachim, maybe mafteach me'erev Shabbos, he can bring a key from erev Shabbos, umeinicho beskop, and he can put it on the threshold, lamachar poseach v'noel umachzir lemakomo, and the next day he can open, close, put it back to its original spot, o bechalon shal gabi hapesach, or put it on a window which is on top of the doorway. However, im yesh bechalon arba al arba, if the chalon already is going to be 4 by 4 tvachim, also, then already it's a problem in Neshu Kemotzi Merishos Lurishos, because then already it's considered to be a Rishos HaYachid, it's going to be a problem. Rashi over here says, L'machar poseach v'noa v'al eskopa omenu metaltel mafteach me'eskopa l'minol al derech aver eskopa de'in tiltel al bekarmelis. As long as you're only in the carmelis, it's okay. U'machziro l'mekomo le'eskopa meinicho b'minol avalo be'eskopa. But in the case again where it's above 10 tvachim, you're not allowed to put it on the threshold. You have to place it in the lock itself. Techimamti le me'eskopa l'minol, because there, if you're going to move it from the eskopa to the minol, hamapik mikarmelis l'rishos hayachid. As we said, according to Rabbi Meir, if the lock is above 10 tvachim, it's going to be rishos hayachid. You can't move it from the carmelis to the rishos hayachid. L'mekomo l'minol al gabav, then you put it again back to the lock. Kegon minol and halal shaleis shosen aniyim bepischein v'rashein rechavin uvalaz shod. This was a kind of particular lock that the aniyim used. The Chachamim say l'kamon mefarish taima to lo mashvulei l'hai minol rishos hayachid. The entire machlokas here between the Chachamim, which we're going to explain in a moment, between the Chachamim and Rabbi Meir, is whether this lock, even when it's above 10 tvachim, is it rishos hayachid or not. Rabbi Meir considered the lock to be rishos hayachid, therefore he considered it a problem to start moving from the threshold to the rishos hayachid. Whereas the Chachamim say it's not rishos hayachid. L'makomo, you move it back to its place. L'skopo, l'chalon, shein barba, put it to the threshold or to the window, which is not 4 tvachim wide. The afagav, the gavo asara, makom p'tor bi'almo. Even if it's 10 tvachim high, but if it's not 4 tvachim wide, it's just a makom p'tor. Shemotzi merishos l'rishos. But again, if it is a rishos hayachid, you got a problem. Me'eskopo shu karmelis l'chalon shu rishos hayachid. Obviously, you're not allowed to move the key directly from a karmelis to a rishos hayachid. V'afagav d'inicho tchila b'minol. Now, even though originally you place it on the way, you place it to the in the lock itself, shu makom p'tor, which is a makom p'tor. So maybe you could transfer from a karmelis to a makom p'tor to a rishos hayachid. That's not true. We're going to say this later in the Gemara. You're not allowed to transfer from a carmelis to a rishos hayachid through a makom p'tor. You can go from a carmelis to a makom p'tor. You can go from a rishos hayachid to a makom p'tor, but you can't go from a carmelis to a rishos hayachid through a makom p'tor. So in any case, now the Gemara wants to understand what's going on. If it's above 10 tvachim, according to the Chachamim, why would it not be a rishos hayachid? So the Gemara says, "Midakamer v'chein chanuyos mechlal deviskopes carmelis askinan." From the word v'chein, the implication is that the threshold is a carmelis. It is similar to the case we had before, where we said we're talking about a gina, which is also a carmelis. So it seems to be that the chanuyos, the escopus rather, is certainly a carmelis. So hay minol hechidami. What's the case of this lock? Either les be'arba, if it's not 4 tvachim wide, makom p'toru. Then it should be a makom p'tor. Then even Rabbi Meir should be lenient, but Rabbi Meir was strict when it was above 10 tvachim. V'is be'arba, and if this minol is 4 tvachim wide, b'hal lemer abanan af bizman she'minol l'malam miyud maybe mafteach me'erev Shabbos u'menichu be'skopa l'machar posech v'no bo machzir l'skopa. The Chachamim are going to say in such a case that you're allowed to take the key and put it on the escopa and move it from the escopa to the lock. The lock should be a rishos hayachid. O l'chalon shel gavi ha'pesach v'kametaltel mikarmelis l'rishos hayachid. You're moving the item from a carmelis from the escopa to the rishos hayachid, which is the lock. So the Gemara answers, Amar Abaya. Abaya says, Liolam de'ein bo arba. The case over here is that it is not 4 tvachim wide. However, v'yesh bo lochuk u'lashlim u'ladalid. There's enough space in the door itself that you can, in theory, carve out that door, and you would have an area on top of this lock of 4 tvachim wide. Uvah pligin, the machlokas is exactly this. To Rabbi Meir savar chokakin lahashlim. Rabbi Meir holds you're allowed to carve out the area to complete the 4 tvachim wide. In theory, you don't actually carve it out, but since you have theoretical space to do that, it's considered a Rishus HaYachid. Rabbanan Savri and Chokakin Lahashlam. And the Rabbanan hold no, there's no halach of Chokakin Lahashlam. So therefore, it's not a Rishus HaYachid. So the entire machlokus at the end of this brayso between Rabbi Meir and the Rabbanan is whether this minol that's above 10 tvachim, is it considered a Rishus HaYachid because you apply Chokakin Lahashlam and you say it's 4 tvachim wide. That's what Rabbi Meir says. That's why Rabbi Meir is strict. Says you can't move it from the threshold to the minol in this case. And the Rabbanan say Ein Chokakin Lahashlam, so it's going to be just a makom p'tur. Amar Rav Bevi bar Abai says Shma Mina Mehamas Nisi. You see from this brayso exactly some of the things we pointed out before in Rashi. You see three things. Talos Shma Mina. You see three things from this brayso. First of all, you see Shma Mina Chokakin Lahashlam. First of all, you see that we apply the rule of Chokakin Lahashlam according to Rav Meir. Ushma Mina Hadar Bei Rav Meir Mishare Gina. You also see that Rav Meir changed his mind from the strict position he had when it came to a Carmelist. He no longer is concerned that you cannot stand in a Rosh Hashanah and move the key around in a Carmelist. Before he said that was a problem. That's what he said by Gina, which was a case of a Carmelist. Now he seems to be saying it's okay. V'shamat mina mid Rabbanan, and finally we see from the Rabbanan Isal Rav Dimi, that we hold the Rav Dimi's position. The Chiyas Rav Dimi Amar Rav Yochanan, because when Rav Dimi came, he said in the name of Rav Yochanan, Makom she'ein bo arba al arba. If you have an area that's not 4 by 4 tvachim, meaning it's a makom p'tur, mutter livnei rishus harabim v'livnei rishus hayachid l'chasef. All of it's mutter for the people who are standing in rishus harabim, or for the people who are standing in rishus hayachid to place things on the makom p'tur. But you're not allowed, as we said, you're not allowed to take it from the rishus harabim to the rishus hayachid through the makom p'tur. That you are not allowed to do. We'll take a look at a couple of Rashis. Hadar Bei Rabbi Meir Mishari Gina. You see, Rabbi Meir changed his mind from the strict position he had by Agina. Midukashari Lamod B'Rishus Harabim. From the fact that you're allowed to stand in Rishus Harabim, some take out the scare, so we'll read through the whole Rashi. From the fact that you can stand in Rishus Harabim, Litol Maftech Me'eskopes Carmelis, and take a key that's in a threshold that's a Carmelis, and move it around to another Carmelis, to the lock which is below 10. Not concerned, you're going to carry it from the Carmelis to the Rishus Harabim. You see it from the end also of Rabbi Meir. You're allowed to stand on the threshold that's a Carmelis. And you're allowed to take it, let's say there's a lock above 10 tvachim. According to Rabbi Meir, that's a Rishus HaYachid. B'eskopes Carmelis, and you're standing on a threshold that's a Carmelis. So l'licho derech avira l'minol, you can move it from the lock to the to do the unlocking. V'lo gazer shemi yaviyanu etzlo l'eskopes she Carmelis. We're not afraid you're going to take it from the Rishus HaYachid to the Carmelis. And finally, Ushmami Nami Rabbanan Damrim Yesh Arba Al Arba Aser Litol Mafteach Me'eskopa V'Linol B'Minol Shum Makom P'tur V'Litlo Misham Ulanicho B'Chalon. The Rabbanan say you're not allowed to take from the area which is 4 by 4 tvachim. Again, in the situation where the minol is 4 by 4 tvachim, you're not allowed to take the key from the eskopa, put it in the lock, which is a makom p'tur, and then take it from there and put it on the chalon, shu Rishus HaYachid, which is Rishus HaYachid. You can't go to the Rishus HaYachid through the makom p'tur. Misham dekamachlif me'eskopes Carmelis l'chalon, shu Rishus HaYachid al yedei hanachas makom p'tur. You're not allowed to go from the Carmelis to the chalon through the makom p'tur. So you see, Isal Rav Dimi Damar Uvalvad Shalechlifu. That's exactly what Rav Dimi said. You're not allowed to use a makom p'tur to go through from one rishus to the next. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah Nagor. Let's say you have a bolt. Sheyesh Barosho Gluster, and has a knob on the top. Rabbi Eliezer Oser. In such a situation, Rabbi Eliezer says it's problematic to use that to lock up the door. Rabbi Yossi Mater, Rabbi Yossi says you could use it. Rabbi Eliezer says, Maisa Bechnesas Shabbat Tiveria. There was a story in the synagogue in Tiveria, Shahayu Noagin Boheter, that they actually said you're allowed to use it. Ad Shabar Rabbi Gamliel Vazikain and Vyasrulan, until Rabbi Gamliel and the elders came and said it's a problem. Rabbi Yossi says you have the whole story backwards. Isser Nagubo. Actually, they used to say it was prohibited. Uvar Rabbi Gamliel Vazikain and Vytirulan, and Rabbi Gamliel and the elders came and they said it was permitted. And Rashi over here says, Nagor shetochven oso bechor shebeskopa lino hadas. They used to take a bolt and they used to put it in a hole on the threshold, and that used to act as a way to lock the door. Sheyesh barosho glustera. It has a knob on the top. Shebarosho ava, meaning it's a little thicker on the top. V'roi lebuchna lichsosh v'lischok bo pilpin. You could theoretically use it for various things like crushing up peppers. V'afilu hachi, the Torah has kli olav. The point is, even though it's useful and it is a kli, Rabbi Eliezer oser, Rabbi Eliezer says still it's a problem. You can't use it to lock up the door. Elim can kosher v'tolei bedalis, unless it's tied and hanging from the door. Kedim efarish begemar, as the Gemara will explain. For Rabbi Yossi Mati, Rabbi Yossi says it's fine. The Torah is kli olav. It's considered a vessel. Mishum gluster, because of the nav. Velo michsi kabona. Rabbi Yossi says it doesn't look like you are building. So the Gemara says benito ba'ogdo, which Rashi says means if it's tied and it's hanging with a rope. So in such a situation, kulial malo pligi. then there is no machlokes. Rashi says, "Benital ba'agdo keshu kasher v'tolei bechevel shel kayama." It's tied permanently with a rope and hanging. V'roi lataltel adeos hachevel. You can move this bolt around with the rope. V'yeno nifsak biyadi. It's not going to snap. It's not going to break. Kol yalmalo pligi deshari. There, everyone agrees it's permitted. Dekevan dekasher v'tolei yafe. Since it's tied and hanging well. Mukcha milsa delinol ka. You see that it is made to use as a lock. V'lo mechsi kebona. It doesn't look like you're building. Ki pligi, when do they argue? And we'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Kuf Beis Amud Aleph.